Hello and welcome to another episode of Ken Training, where we want to give you the training that you need to tackle projects like this one on your own. Today's project is going to be installing a hot water recirculating water pump in a residential home. This is my home. I'm a DIYer. My channel is Ken Training. Check it out. Smash that like button now. We are going to give you the content that you need in the shortest amount of time necessary for you to view it. All I ask is that you smash that like button right now. Thank you. Now, here's the project. We have a 50-gallon water heater that is directly behind me. This house is 41 years old. This house has experienced at least two slab water leaks in the copper supply plumbing system that I know of. One just recently, and the one that failed just recently, we had to isolate it, so I've lost water at a bathtub and to two hose spigots that's feeding the back. And due to the age and the previous failures, I want to go ahead and, as a preventive maintenance, we're going to I'm hiring a company to PEX pipe the property. I don't know if the company will allow me to video them, but if they will allow me to video them, I'll video that content as well and post that content. But as part of that job, I'm going to have a hot water recirculation water line installed. As long as I'm going through the trouble of spending $8,000 on a PEX repipe job, I also want to go ahead and have a hot water recirc line installed to my kitchen sink. Underneath my kitchen sink right now, I have a small water heater that's like 5 gallons or something like that. And I use that to have instant hot water at the kitchen sink. With the use of a hot water recirculation pump, I will no longer require that device to be underneath my kitchen sink and in that cabinetry, so I'll regain that space, which is going to be a huge bonus. So that's the project that we need to have done in a nutshell. And let me show you where we're at with the project. Okay, so here's the water heater tank. And this is the water recirculation pump that we're going to be installing, which is a Grundfos water recirculating pump. And it's not fully installed yet. I'm just getting it set up. But Comfort PM, here's the box that it came in right there, and there is the plate with the model number. Tells you about it. I'll try to leave links for everything down below, but I don't know, I think it was a couple $100 or something like that for this water recirculation pump. And then I also purchased some additional accessories. I purchased these union fittings here with the shutoff valves. So on the inlet and outlet, the water flow that's going to go through the pump is going to go this way here, and then down through this metal braided stainless steel line. And we're going to go into where I'm draining the tank now. So you see I haven't even removed the original tank drain valve. And we're going to be installing, we have to remove that fitting, and we have to put on a nipple and some other fittings, and you'll see all that as we go through it. Now this water heater, if you look at my channel, you see other links, but it's a 50-gallon, and it was installed in 2002 to 2004. I'm not sure the exact installation date, but that makes this water heater approximately 18 or 19 years old. This is 2021. So I know this puppy's got some age on it, but I do try to maintain it. I've already changed out and you can see my videos on this, the anode rod, and I did it in 2015, and I also did it in 2019. And I've got down here the Home Depot part number that I replaced, and the SKU, the internet number, and all that. But you can check out my channel and links and all of that. Okay, now I already have the natural gas valve shut off, so I have it shut off there. I have the thermostat set to vacation mode, so that's off right there, and the natural gas is off. On the top of the water heater, I have two shut-off valves, one on the supply, the inlet and outlet. So I have both valves shut off. There's that second valve. It's a little buried right there, but both of those valves are shut off. And I have, and this has been like this for like at least over half an hour. And I have that valve opened right there. And I've also, I have a bleed, this particular valve here that goes to my expansion tank also has a bleeder port on it, so I have that bleeder port removed so that air can go in there. And I even have the pressure temperature relief valve popped up there. Let me show you. Alright, so this is on top of the water heater, and you can see I have at the very top there the pressure temperature relief valve popped up. What I mean by that is this handle right here, which is normally in the down position. I popped it up like that so that way air could be allowed to go into the system. The tank, I can tell you, should be pretty much drained. I still have my cap removed off of my bleeder port. This is what the cap looks like, in case you've never seen a shut-off valve with a bleeder port. And this is what it looks like. Normally you're going to run this with the cap on and tight like that, and so that way nothing can drip out of it. But in this case, I wanted that removed so I could add air into the system and drain the tank from the tank down, even though my shutoff valves on the inlet and outlet are closed. And looks like we might have a little bit of water left, but I think we're pretty much at the tail end. And I'm just going to show you how, with that valve opened, how I used my ladder and a couple of clamps in an effort to not have that hose kinked. Let me show you what happens when I remove these clamps and this hose was just hanging down. The water was so hot that what happened was, because it was all at full tank pressure, the rubber of the hose got very warm and very soft, and it just kind of folded that down due to the weight of the hose. Now that the water is empty, it's a little more rigid, but I had used these clamps just to give that the least amount of resistance possible to let it drain out the fastest possible. Also, the stupid valve was leaking, so I had to put this piece of fiberglass just taped to the shell of the tank and just have it drip down into this 5-gallon bucket, because it was just dripping constantly down right here onto the platform of the water heater. Whoever installed this, they didn't put a pan underneath it, so I didn't get a bunch of water under there. I just put this little makeshift thing on. Okay, right now I'm going to pull off the garden hose, and then we're gonna get ready to remove the old valve and put on the new system. Okay, you can see right there that the valve completely broke off inside the shell when I was trying to remove it. It did have an expectation that that was going to happen. Now we need to hacksaw it out, so let's get right to it. Okay, one of these two methods will surely work. The old reliable method here is just putting your hacksaw in there and cutting it out, which we can do. An easier method, if it works, would be to use an extraction tool. This is what I use. I have this for landscaping, and it came with a kit with a couple of different heads on it right there. And this smaller head fits in there. I'm going to try to see if I can extract my broken part by utilizing this easy out extraction tool for normally for irrigation, sprinkler fittings for the lawn sprinkler irrigation. Let's see if it will work and extract here. Okay, so here's the extraction tool. I'm going to stick it into the hole here, and while I'm pushing in towards the water heater, I'm going to turn it counterclockwise to try to extract that plastic fitting, and I can see if it starts to grab. I'll see it. All right, we have the larger head put on the tool here. Let's try to extract it now. With that, I put some gloves on to give me a little bit more leverage as well. So again, I'm just pushing in and I'm trying to twist. It does not appear that I'm getting it. Definitely taking away some plastic, but I'm not getting what I want. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my hacksaw and I'm going to cut in, making sure, or trying to make sure, that I don't cut the threads of the frame, the tank itself. I just want to cut the plastic. Here's a close-up of what it is that I'm dealing with. You can see that I'm down to the threads there. I can't keep using the extractor without threat of destroying that. I still have plastic here, so I'm just using the utility knife to try to whittle that away. Alright, it took a good 15 minutes with me working with the utility knife and going through each of the grooves on both sides, but I finally was able to get this out, and it looks like I've pretty much got it extracted. But it was time consuming, and it came out in, let's just use the term, like little chunks. I mean, it wasn't exactly I don't know, the best the most friendly. This goes to show you that when you do this, it's best if you do this when the tank is brand new and the valve is brand new, and then you can extract it quite easily because it's not brittle after 20 years of service. But being that my tank is 20 years old, that's basically what I had to deal with. Hopefully these threads that are inside here are not compromised, so we'll run our pipe through here and we'll see what that looks like. Okay, so what's happening is that I originally had purchased this 4-inch nipple, and I'm going to have a T on the end of it like this, but I didn't expect this much distance because I didn't know how deep the valve was. This valve was here that I pulled out. I had never removed one of these before, and I didn't know how deep in it was going to go, and it's like right very close to the shell of the tank. So that just threw me off a little bit. So I went to the store and I got several different size nipples to try to make sure that I did this right. And I originally was going to do this whole job in brass, and my concern is that I might have electrolysis because the tank is steel, and then with a different metal, brass, you could have electrolysis at this particular juncture. So I purchased a galvanized 2.5-inch nipple here, and that I'm going to go onto a brass T. And if there is going to be electrolysis, it will be here at this T fitting rather than at this tank fitting, because I want to not disturb the tank threads as much as possible. Now, another reason why I wanted to purchase this steel nipple was because brass is a much softer material than is steel, and the tank is steel. So the threads, when I did all the hacksawing and utility knife job, the threads are a little bit buggered. By the way, I did take a tool that I used for my copper plumbing jobs, and I just cleaned up inside the threads here as much as possible that I could with just a wire brush. Now I'm going to take this here and just take the steel, the galvanized steel nipple, and I'm just going to run it in, and because I want to make sure that the threads are pretty good. And it looks like we're going to be okay here. Okay. Yeah. All right. I don't want to send that home. We have to properly dress those threads. This was just a test run just to see how well that was going to go. So right now, let's go ahead and prep the threads to actually do the installation into the tank. Okay, this method is pretty much going to be foolproof so that we do not get any leaks. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to take some Teflon tape. This is the thread that's going to go into the tank. Now, you're going to take your Teflon tape, keeping it as flat as possible, and you're going to wrap this at least 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Right there, we're going to stop. Now, we're going to take this material here, which is pipe thread sealant, and this particular one is T+2 Recto Seal, and it's PTFE enriched. So, this is what the consistency and what it looks like here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our pipe thread sealant. A lot of people refer to it as pipe dope. And you're just going to take it and you're going to put it on the threads like so. We just want a reasonable amount, filling up the thread cavities like so. As I twist this on, it will all back out. That is properly prepped for installation. All my joints are going to be done in that same way. I just went over great detail on this one. I'm not going to do it on every joint. Okay, so now that we have our nipple properly prepped for installation, we're going to try to square it off as best we can and start to thread that in by hand, making sure that it's not cross-threaded and it does not feel cross-threaded. It feels good. And then we're going to take our pipe wrench and we're going to go ahead and start cinching that up. The pressure in the house is only 70 psi, so we just have to be reasonably snug. We don't have to be too crazy, but we have to be reasonably snug. Right there should do it, okay? Alright, so we should be totally set there. Now we want to put on our T-fitting, and we want it like so, because this here is... this line here is going to intercept right here, like that. Okay, so I just got this pretty much hand tight. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my pipe wrench again, and we're going to screw on here and give that, at least one more revolution. Right, or at least another half revolution, I should say, right there. And this is where we need to mate onto, so we're going to keep twisting till this feels like right about there. Looks pretty good of where we want to be on. So this is how we're going to do it. There's a slight downward angle here, which is okay because this is going to be my drain valve. And this here should be acceptable right there. We're going to take these threads here that are on our metal braided line that goes to our recirculating water pump, and we're going to prep these threads to go on to this female T-fitting right here. And one other thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we have the ability to turn this. So let me just double check that right now because we have to thread that on. Okay. Now that is rock solid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let me just back you up a little bit here. So we have the fitting going right here to our recirculating pump. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take, that's just probably hand tight. Hang on a second here. There we go. Let's go ahead and undo that. Okay. Now, we know that we can turn this fitting when we get it onto here, and this fitting has a gasket, so it doesn't need to be prepped. This is just National Pipe Threads, male threads that are going onto a female fitting. That has to get prepped. I thought that this section here would turn, but it didn't feel. Give me 1 second here. Let's just see if it'll do it now. That feels rock solid. That is not turning. So it's like this whole thing is going to turn. like with the hose and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and prep this and get this started and get this going on here. Let's see if we can't get this going. You would think that that would turn, but because it didn't, and it was giving me a hard time. Alright, that feels very snug. So we feel good there, and we can go ahead and connect on to the pump right now. So that's this connection right here. Now, let's see here. It looks like, I wasn't sure exactly how this was all going to line up. It looks now, that's not terrible. I gave myself a little bit of room here to go up and down. Let me show you that real good. So I gave myself a little bit of room with my pump situation here in order to go up and down, but you know what, it's fine. Right like that, with that installation right there, what I can do. Okay, now I've got some shut-off valves here. I think I might just angle those a little bit differently. So rather than have the shut-off valves with the screwdriver from this angle, have them shut off so that they're just closer to right here. So I just want to loosen this here because I have choices. I want the pump to sit like this when it's just at rest, and I want this shut-off valve that's right here to be a little bit more easier to access, a little bit easier to see, so like that. So let me go ahead and line. Driver. We'll go ahead and lock that down. Actually, before I lock that down, there's a transition here that goes from steel to brass. So again, I want to prevent electrolysis. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap these two copper pipes before I lock that down. So I am going to pull this out for a moment, wrap this up with some anything, duct tape is perfectly fine, just to prevent metal-to-metal contact, two dissimilar metals contact. Okay, so this is the setup that we have so far. We're coming out of the tank, through the nipple, through the T, into a flexible metal braided line that is used for water heaters. Then we are entering into a 4-inch brass nipple here, through a, oh, I forget what you call this particular part, like a union fitting that's part of the Grundfos system, and it also has individual shut-off valves, a ball valve here. And so we have that. And then I also went and put on some gray duct tape here to prevent electrolysis onto the steel supports from brass to steel. That's locked down here so that this is good and tight. There's a studs. I marked my stud before I started the project. These blue tapes indicate where my studs are, which are pretty much 16 inches on center. Then what I did is I screwed in a couple of screws, one here and one right there. Those are 3-inch drywall screws into 3/4 inch plywood. So this plywood is on the wall, solid as a rock. I used two 3/4 inch additional wood pieces to step that off so that my pump could sit at a angled degree and still have space here in between. This is what the front of the pump looks like. When I want to go to plug the pump in, I put in an electrical outlet. I'm still prepping the wall because I had to take the electrical that was from here in the ceiling. I opened up the ceiling and I opened up the wall so I could run it through. That's a new GFCI outlet for the pump power once the wall gets prepped, but I'm still doing my drywall patch and paint on the wall, and that's why that's covered in blue tape, because I didn't want anything to happen to the outlet while I'm doing this prep work. So all of this section here for the pump is ready to go. I still have to finish this section here so I can get water back onto the house. So I have a 3/4 inch ball valve here, and I have a brass 3/4 inch nipple here. And this is an adapter fitting, and what it is, it's an adapter that goes from 3/4 inch thread to hose thread, so that way you can put a garden hose on these threads right here, and these threads will mate with that valve right there. Okay, so basically this is what everything looks like so far. The valve is on there tight. I haven't even, I always wipe up my joints there with just some paper towels. I haven't even done that yet. And I'll just show you what I mean. I just take a paper towel here and just wipe that up. Okay, but anyways, and because I'm the installer, I have a decision about where I want this valve, how I want it to operate it. I could have turned the valve different. I could have operated it that way. I could put it on top so it operates this way. In my installation, I felt like under off conditions like that is good, and coming down like that for when I want to drain out is good. So this is how I decided to do my installation for my valve. Now that I've got a ball valve on here and I've got that shut off, and over here I have a ball valve here where my finger is, I got that shut off. The valve has an internal valve right there. I also shut that one off. This is just an insulating jacket that they put on there, and it also tells you the water flow. The water flow in this valve, and there's another arrow right there. So we're gonna flow the water down here, so the hot water will recirculate back into the tank this way, is how I've got it set up. And there's another ball valve right there. So we are ready to go ahead and pressurize this tank so we can do a water test. So I put my bleeder port back on over there, and I'm going to open up the inlet water right there, and I'm going to pressurize the tank and see if we get any fittings that are leaking. Okay, the safety valve is down. This is good. Bleeder port is on there. Crack this. You can begin to hear some water. I'm looking around to see if there's any water or anything that's going crazy on me. Everything is looking good. We'll let the tank fill up like that. And while the tank is filling, we're just observing and we're looking for leaks, specifically down here at the bottom, since that's where all my recent joints are all made up. So we're going to let that fill up and we're going to monitor the situation. Alright, we're still filling. No leaks of any sort from the tank to our galvanized nipple that we put in there. Everything looks good. This joint obviously is good. This joint right here is good. This joint right here is good. And then that joint there is good. Then we have a ball valve. So theoretically that's off. So there should be no water from here up. But just as backup, I have these valves shut off here. All right, we're still filling. There's no leaks. I'm going to introduce some more water pressure. Pretty much got it open full blast right there. Everything looks good. I'm going to go ahead and open up the discharge side of the tank here. So now we're opened up into the residence. Now let's go ahead and open up a hot water valve in the house so we can bleed out all the air. Alright, so here's the tub. This is the hot water valve here. Let's open that up. And that should purge out. There we go. Now we've got full water coming out of the tub. The tank has been disturbed, so the water's going to be a little dirty. Okay, we do have a leak, and it's coming out of my pressure temperature relief valve, so that didn't seat properly. But all of the joints that I did, they appear to be good. So let me address this pressure temperature relief valve. I'm just going to tap on the top of it to try to get it to seat. I've experienced this before, and it's going to take over 24 hours to get it to seat without dripping, so I gotta put an extra pipe on, so hang on. Okay, so what I've done is the pressure temperature relief valve, I just have this accessory pipe on here, and it is just simply dripping from there into this 5-gallon bucket here, and I'll just monitor that and get that to seat. Theoretically, what I should do is I should change out the pressure temperature relief valve. I just, it'll probably seat on its own, and it's still a good valve. Everything else looks good, and I just need to put on that one hose adapter, but I want to get myself some hot water. So now that I've got a full tank of water, and that's purged of air, I'm going to open up the burner compartment and get this thing ignited. So let's get that going right now, because we want hot water. So we're going to move this stuff out of the way and not worry about that. I'm going to lift this off, and there's a burner compartment door here that has to come up and over. Let's see, like that. We're going to turn on, we're going to put this to pilot, the gas valve. We're going to put that to pilot right there. And we are going to open up the gas valve here. That is back over here. And now, while depressing this, I'm going to light this off. Let's see if we can give you a good shot of that inside the burner compartment. Hopefully this is the best view you're going to get. I am going to depress the top plunger here while lighting off that. And if you can see, the pilot has been lit, and let's just see if we can get you a better shot of that pilot right there. All right, I'm still holding down the plunger there, and I'm going to go ahead and release that and go to on, and we still have that. And here we go. Here's where the real magic begins. I'm going to turn the knob to, hold on a second, let me back you off. We're going to turn the knob here, and there you go. There's your flame, and you should be able to see that 100% in the camera. So while that flame is on and burning nicely, we can put the rest of the fittings on right here and continue on with the project. So while I was here working on putting this in, I could hear the flame making a sound that it's never made before. If you listen quietly, you can hear it. What's happening is I have a drop of water dripping onto the flame, and it's drop, drop, drop. And you can see the flame changes color. So we're going to take our thermostat, turn it to vacation mode so the flame shuts off, and I'm going to show you inside the tank here what that looks like. So here it is with the flashlight, and you can see from the vent tube in the center how it's dripping. Now that water wasn't doing that before. That's one thing. And it doesn't look like it's coming from around here. That didn't do anything. Here's the top of the tank. The top of the tank is bone dry because I didn't really do anything up here. I didn't do any pipe work up here. So what's ever happening, it's happening from possibly condensation because the tank was empty, or it's happening because I just developed a leak and it's showing up on the internal flue to the from the tank to the internal flue. But and you know what, I was waiting for this tank to give up the ghost, considering that it's 18-19 years old anyways. But for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the flame back on and just go back to normal and monitor the situation to see if that seats up. Just in case this is just a temporary thing that was just possibly condensation, all I'm going to do is just put the tank back on and go back to normal service here and monitor this. I'll check it tightly tomorrow to see if it's still dripping. And if it has, it's possible that this tank has just reached its life expectancy and it needs replacement. Either way, I wanted to have a water recirculating pump when the PEX system is installed. But at least you have a great idea of how this is all going to happen, whether it's this water heater or a replacement water heater. If I do get a replacement water heater, I will put a pan underneath it to make sure that it's has a drain pan underneath it and stuff like that. They don't have a drip leg coming down on the natural gas, so this should have been piped a little bit differently to put a drip leg in as well, so I would probably redo that. Alright, now I've got the drain hose hooked up. I'll go ahead and open this up here, and you can see it way down there flushing out, so we're giving it a really solid drain by doing this with this installation. Now I have a solid shutoff. Because of that plastic valve I put down here years ago in 2015, so that's 6 years ago. This valve does not shut tight, don't blow it down, KC, because this valve here, the one that I removed, was just a piece of junk. These valves are just the lowest quality valves possible. But so now with this one I can give it a really good blowdown. But I gotta keep monitoring that internal situation. But basically this is the installation that I wanted to present. I hope you got some valuable information out of this video. Smash that like button down. Subscribe to my channel, Ken Training. I will catch you on the flip side.